James guessed 40,000 steps. The real number was 47,855 steps.
It's pretty well the same as what we did the other time.
Yeah.
The last time.
Mm-hmm.
So what that means is I overestimated what we did the last time. We only did 25 kilometers instead of the 27 that I thought. That's all.
Maybe.
That's all. Well, I mean, it was the same number of steps.
Okay.
So
anyway, James saw a bear.
I saw Smokey, and he was a
that's why James
really
took so long.
good guy.
Yeah.
Well, one of the reasons was my back was all blasted up. I mean, I had a treatment yesterday, which involves me lying down, and I can't get my head properly set for my back. There's a deer over there, incidentally, speaking of wildlife.
I saw a deer inside Red Rock Canyon earlier.
Yeah. They're
pretty.
coming out to feed. I saw several deer while I was chatting with the folks up at Snowshoe Camp and stuff like that. I didn't point out to you while I was talking to you, there was a deer behind you, and they said, we didn't point out the several deer that were behind you. But Smokey was, I had some water bottles here. They sound more like cans. At my side, I moved the one that I had over here so they could rattle together. And they were making some pretty good sound, really. There was a bit of a deep sound and a rattling sound as one of the bottles hit against my set of keys. And I was taking the corners wide so I could see around them. And it was just before that. It's quite close up the big high rise that you go when you're coming fairly close. It's close.
Oh wow! So he was pretty close to here.
Pretty close to here, and so I just come around a corner, and it's not a tight corner, and quite a ways away. I'd say closer than a football field away, 2/3 of a football field. It wasn't. I don't want to make it seem close and overly dramatic, melodramatic, but. I feel pretty good. It helped that I was all beaten up. I probably had done, like 45,000 steps of the 47,000 steps that you and I did. And he was pretty as a picture. I'm telling you, he was totally black from what I could tell. Obviously a black bear. So he didn't look the least bit threatening. He was framed by, well, not up here, but framed by green here and then a kind of a reddish pathway. And he was as handsome as you could imagine a bear could be, or she was as handsome or as pretty as you could imagine a bear to be. And I stopped. The funny thing is, I'd started at least once when a deer came fleeing out of underbrush a fair distance away from where I was, and I've always worried that I'd kind of at least start because I have a noise startled with the kind of some of the chemos that I take. And he stopped right away, and then I took 2 steps back, very slowly. That's what they say to do with them. And I was going to go however far back it was required if he was going to stand his ground. He wasn't going to stand his ground at first. He saw me take the 2 steps back, and he saw me giving up space. He wasn't being aggressive. He just said, okay, guy's going to back his way all the way down the path, however far I want to go. He took basically 2 steps towards me. And I got back kind of around where the corner that I'd come from, but I was peeking out, kind of, so I wasn't looking aggressive or something like that.
It's probably the same deer that I saw in Red Rock Canyon.
Yeah. I'm getting the flies bothering her.
Oh. Yeah.
Beautiful. Maybe not as beautiful as the bear, though. That bear was something else. Just snuffling around. Hey there. She kind of heard me talking, I think. Okay.
But anyway, the bear went into the
well, what happened was he took a couple of steps. When he saw me stop, then he said, okay, he's not going off-roading. I was thinking of off-roading, but you got to make sure. Now, I realize that you don't off-road until you see them off-road, I guess.
Yeah.
because I was going to off-road the same direction he off-roaded.
Oh, man.
You know, I could have met him in the underbrush.
Terrible.
And then, well, it could have been, possibly.
Mm.
It would have been harder to see him coming up. You would have been able to hear him. You've heard them.
Here comes the deer.
There we go.
There she goes.
She knows she's got to go across the road a little faster, maybe. I don't know what's going on.
I don't know. Now she's slow again. Yeah.
Anyway, so I'm waiting there. I see him go off-roading off to the right down this way, down towards the creek side. And I go, how long do I wait it out? Like, is he going to go off and then come back? And I wanted to make sure that I hit it the right time. I didn't want him to go and then come back on.
Mm-hmm.
So I waited not very long, maybe a couple of minutes, maybe even less. Couple of minutes probably. And then I started going, and I took a few steps. It seemed like 2 steps, and I look out the side, just peeking. I didn't want to stare at him, but he was maybe 20 feet away in the underbrush, going parallel to the path, and he was just grazing along. He had his nose down. He wasn't the least bit concerned with me. From what I could see, I was kind of looking out of my eye and things like that. I didn't want to, get aggressively looking at him, or what he'd interpret as might interpret as aggressively looking. So all told, it was a very civilized experience. We had worse experiences with, at least one worse experience with a car who passed us in a 80 zone gearing down to 60. I was getting down to 60. I was probably going to 70. It wasn't quite the 60 zone. It was a no passing zone. It's the guy was counting that I wasn't turning. If I turned left, we would have had a collision. Do you see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
He can't be doing those sorts of things. He's going to pay. And unfortunately, here's another one up here.
So you're saying the drivers in Waterton were worse than
Well, this one particular one, and it was within Waterton. I wish I'd got the license plate, but I'm looking for you, Guy. It's something like